Look, you're bright. You're ambitious. You've mastered complex grammar and arcane vocabulary. Yet every single day you find yourself completely derailed by the trivial. You know the leverage activities, the ones that actually move your career or your fluency forward. But instead, you're trapped in a perpetual state of reacting, not creating. You're constantly putting out fires that someone else lit. We're talking about the insidious condition known as the tyranny of the urgent.
It's the highest form of self-sabotage. It's what keeps intelligent people perpetually stuck. You look back at your week and realize you've only executed the mandatory, never the meaningful. The urgent email got answered, but the strategic reading, the deep work, it was entirely sacrificed.
And here's the brutal reality. If you don't master the art of deliberate attention now, you will lose momentum. Your competitors, your peers, they will surpass you. Because in this digital economy, attention is the ultimate currency. And if you're still trading in pennies of fragmented focus, you're missing out on the goldmine of strategic output.
So, how do we escape this cycle? How do we build a fortress around our most valuable cognitive resource? Today, we're going to dissect the mechanisms of digital distraction and furnish you with the cognitive frameworks necessary to not just manage time, but to master your attention.
We are talking advanced habits for advanced learners. If you want to elevate your life and your English fluency by cultivating unassailable focus, stay tuned. This is the Talk English Podcast, and Rachel and I are about to dismantle your productivity problems. Welcome to the Talk English Podcast. I'm John, and with me today I have Rachel, a cognitive strategist and an expert in optimizing high-leverage activities. Rachel, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, John. It's a topic I'm truly passionate about. I think it's the quiet differentiator between success and stagnation for modern professionals.
Absolutely. And for our advanced English learners, please know that every discussion we have here is engineered to expose you to C1, C2 vocabulary, complex syntax, and discourse markers used by native professionals. This isn't just self-help, this is active linguistic immersion.
That's right. And to make sure you capture all the linguistic gold we are about to unpack, remember that the full PDF transcript is waiting for you in the description link below.
That PDF is crucial. It's not just the transcript. It includes a comprehensive breakdown of the advanced vocabulary, grammar deep dives, and targeted comprehension quizzes. If you're serious about converting passive listening into active, measurable fluency, it's indispensable.
And before we immerse ourselves in this topic, if this kind of content, this marriage of advanced English and profound professional insights resonates with you, take 1 second. Hit subscribe, join our community, and signal to the algorithms that this is the depth you demand.
All right, let's pivot back to where we started, the tyranny of the urgent. Rachel, when we talk about this, we are fundamentally talking about the difference between importance and urgency. Can you lay the groundwork for this conceptual separation for us?
Certainly. The foundational concept, often attributed to Dwight D. Eisenhower, is a stunning indictment of how we let the noise dictate our day. Urgency is simply a measure of time pressure. It screams at you. It's the flashing red light. But importance is a measure of impact and value, how much it contributes to your long-term goals.
I think the linguistic subtlety here is key for our advanced learners. Urgent suggests a lack of choice. Important suggests a value judgment. The tragedy is that we allow the demands of others, in the form of emails, pings, or calls, to hijack our attention, masquerading as our most important priorities.
Exactly. The urgent activities are often the low-leverage activities, answering the non-essential email, attending the optional meeting, performing minor administrative tasks. They feel productive, but they are an illusion of progress. They consume time without generating substantive results.
This forces us to address the root cause, which is often a psychological one, the discomfort of depth. It is much easier to react to something urgent than to sit down with a complex problem that requires 2 hours of uninterrupted, deep focus.
That's where the paradox lies, doesn't it? We crave deep mastery, yet we deliberately choose the shallow work because it offers instant, albeit fleeting, gratification.
Let's explore that discomfort, Rachel. For our listeners who are grappling with highly specialized fields, whether they are doctors, engineers, or academic researchers, deep work is the sine qua non of their success. So why the perpetual procrastination? Is it fear of failure, or is it something more neurological?
I think it's a confluence of factors, John. Neurologically, our brains are hardwired for novelty and reward. Every notification, that little flash or ping, is a potent dopamine hit. It's an operant conditioning system designed to keep us tethered to the device. Deep work, by its very nature, is a delayed gratification activity. It requires sustained cognitive effort without immediate feedback.
So we are physiologically predisposed to prioritize the flashing light over the long-term, quiet value. It's a genuine conundrum. And the cultural aspect amplifies this, doesn't it? The expectation of immediate responsiveness in the workplace.
It's pervasive. This manufactured culture of urgency creates a pseudo-productivity epidemic. We mistake busyness for effectiveness. A truly competent individual should have blocks of time that are utterly impermeable to interruption. But if you're replying to emails within 3 minutes, you're signaling that your time is cheap and your focus is disposable.
So in essence, we are making ourselves intellectually exhausted by constantly tending to the non-essential. This sounds like an existential crisis for the ambitious learner.
It is, but it's solvable. The advanced learner must confront the myth that they are too important to disconnect. You must actively carve out time for that quiet, long-form work, the writing, the complex analysis, the concentrated reading. You must be intentional about your isolation.
That brings us to our first listener interaction point. We want to know, what is your biggest digital distraction? Is it the incessant email chime? Is it the endless scroll of social feeds? Or is it perhaps the internal pull, the sheer comfort of abandoning a hard task?
So in the comments below, tell us, what is the single most potent digital disruptor that prevents you from reaching your flow state? We are keen to see if there is a common, pervasive enemy we all need to confront.
Post your response. It's a small, active workout for your English brain, and it helps us understand your challenges better. Now, let's look at the models we can deploy to fight back against this tyranny.
I think the most elegant solution is rooted in a simple but rigorous framework, the Eisenhower Matrix. It's often misunderstood as a simple to-do list, but its true value is as a cognitive filter.
For our listeners who may have a peripheral understanding, remind us of the 4 quadrants, and more importantly, how a C1 learner can apply this filter to their daily workflow.
Certainly. The matrix breaks tasks into 4 quadrants based on the intersection of importance and urgency. Quadrant 1, urgent and important, crisis. Quadrant 2, not urgent but important, strategy, planning, deep work. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important, distractions, interruptions. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important, time wasters.
The true leverage, as we know, lies in quadrant 2, the important but not urgent space. This is where strategic thinking resides. This is where you work on your business or your fluency, not just in it.
The disciplined professional spends disproportionately more time here, but crucially, the C1 learner needs to become ruthless in dismantling quadrant 3. That is the area of false productivity, the urgent tasks that serve someone else's agenda.
Such as, give us a concrete example of a quadrant 3 task that trips up the professional.
Unscheduled phone calls that could have been an email. Most CC'd emails where you are merely informed, not required to act. And perhaps the most insidious,
the unscheduled request for a quick chat. These are all urgent. They interrupt your deep work, yet they rarely contribute substantially to your key outcomes. They must be delegated or outright refused.
I concur. The ability to say no elegantly is perhaps the single highest correlate of elite performance, and this demands linguistic sophistication. When you decline a request, you must do so with politeness, but without ambiguity.
Indeed, instead of a blunt, "I can't," use a phrase that reflects your high-level priorities. For instance, "Before I commit an hour of my time, could you perhaps furnish me with a more comprehensive agenda detailing the desired outcomes and who will be tasked with the actionable follow-ups? I want to ensure my attendance is genuinely germane to the conclusion."
Notice the language, learners. Furnish me with a comprehensive agenda, actionable follow-ups, genuinely germane. That is the language of a high-value professional. This is how you reclaim your attention, one sophisticated sentence at a time.
The other major framework we must address is time blocking. This moves beyond the simple to-do list. It's an act of planning your time proactively, not reactively. You are essentially reserving time for Quadrant 2 activities and treating those reservations with the same sacred respect as you would a client meeting.
If I may use a linguistic device here, had you not explicitly scheduled that time for deep analysis, you would inevitably be spending it on tasks that offer negligible return. The conditional inversion here, had you not, emphasizes the criticality of the planning step.
That's a perfect encapsulation of the principle. You are building structural defenses against the onslaught of the urgent.
We are discussing focus, resilience, and attention, qualities that are absolutely prerequisite for long-term success. And speaking of resilience, we want to direct your attention to a highly relevant video we previously produced.
If you are finding that the stress of constant urgency is wearing you down, and you need to strengthen your psychological defenses, then you must watch Mindset Habits That Make You Undeniably Resilient, English Fluency Podcast.
It's an essential companion piece to this episode. The link is in the description. Now, a quick, crucial interruption. If you found the cognitive frameworks we've discussed so far, the Eisenhower Matrix, time blocking, to be truly valuable, please demonstrate your support. Take 2 seconds, like this video, share it with a peer who needs this insight, and leave a comment to tell us what framework you intend to implement first. Your engagement is the essential fuel that allows us to continue producing this level of C1 level instruction.
And as a final reminder, the PDF transcript containing the full vocabulary list, those grammar tips, and the comprehension quizzes for this episode is available to download instantly. Don't just listen passively, leverage the resource. The link is right there.
Now, let's move our discussion to the next logical stage. How do we deal with the most distracting element of all, other people, the demands on our calendar?
John, when you operate at a high professional level, your calendar becomes a contested resource. It is constantly under siege. The advanced strategy here is to treat meetings as expensive resources that require significant justification.
I couldn't agree more. Most meetings are a failure of documentation. They are often a Quadrant 3 activity that could have been replaced by a succinct memo. This requires a cultural shift and the ability to politely but firmly push back against meeting requests.
Exactly. A C1 level pushback is not, "I'm busy." It's, "Before I commit an hour of my time, could you perhaps furnish me with a more comprehensive agenda detailing the desired outcomes and who will be tasked with the actionable follow-ups? I want to ensure my attendance is genuinely germane to the conclusion."
Again, learners, observe the linguistic complexity. Furnish me with a comprehensive agenda, actionable follow-ups, genuinely germane. That is the language of a high-value professional. This is how you reclaim your attention, one sophisticated sentence at a time.
We also need to address the cultural pathology of multitasking. It is an absolute myth. Neuroscientists have been unequivocal. We do not multitask. We simply task switch rapidly, and that rapid switching degrades performance.
The irony is that the more highly strung the individual, the more they often feel compelled to multitask, believing it is a sign of their indispensable value. In truth, they are the most expendable because they lack the ability to produce truly focused output.
We need to institutionalize single tasking. When you are writing, you are only writing. When you are studying vocabulary, you are only studying vocabulary. This demands a complete withdrawal from digital noise, a form of cognitive abstinence.
This brings us to our second point of interaction for our advanced learners. The commitment to single tasking requires immense discipline. We want to know, what is the most significant, high-leverage task that you are perpetually putting off because of digital distractions?
Perhaps it's writing that thesis chapter, or perhaps it's creating a complex financial model, or maybe it's just practicing English out loud for 30 minutes. Share your answer in the comments and commit to reserving a dedicated, impermeable time block for it this week. Let's hold each other accountable.
That accountability is vital. Now, let's shift our discussion toward the psychological rewards of deep work. It's not just about productivity, it's about fulfillment.
Absolutely. When you are constantly responding to the urgent, you feel reactive, stressed, and ultimately shallow. But when you engage in deep, focused work, you unlock a profound sense of meaning. Cal Newport calls this the craftsman's joy.
It's the feeling of having wrestled with a difficult problem and emerging victorious. It is not the fleeting gratification of an email reply, it is the enduring satisfaction of having created something of substantial worth.
And for our advanced learners, this translates directly to fluency. When you dedicate an hour of undistracted time to grappling with complex texts, perhaps reading a full academic article or listening to a dense C2 level lecture, the mental reward is exponentially greater than 5 minutes of scrolling vocabulary flashcards.
That leads us to the final, necessary piece of the puzzle, the art of strategic unplugging. It's not enough to be focused, you must also intentionally defocus.
Indeed, true recuperation is not scrolling through Instagram. That's just a different form of shallow consumption. Recuperation is active. It's reading a physical book, spending time in nature, or engaging in a cognitively light analog activity. This is the only way to genuinely recalibrate your attention circuits for the next period of deep work.
So in essence, our capacity for deep work is only as robust as our capacity for deep rest.
John, our core message is clear. Stop reacting, start deciding. Be the architect of your day, not the victim of your inbox.
A fitting conclusion. Rachel, thank you for this deeply insightful conversation.
It was my pleasure, John.
And to our dedicated, advanced listeners, if you are ready to take your focus and your English fluency to the next level by leveraging the power of non-action, we have another must-watch video for you.
We highly recommend English Podcast. The secret to focus is strategic procrastination, advanced daily habits for fluency. The title is a paradox, and the content is pure C1 gold. Find the link now.
Remember, your progress is not a sprint. It's a deliberate, sustained marathon. If you appreciated the depth of today's episode, show your support one last time. Like, subscribe, and share this episode to help us reach more advanced learners who refuse to be mediocre.
Thank you for tuning in to the Talk English podcast. Continue to challenge yourself, continue to practice.
This was John and Rachel signing off. We'll talk again soon.